Well, hello again, brothers and sisters at Sanibel Community Church. It is my privilege and delight to let you know about an exciting development in the worship of our church. On behalf of the council, the personnel committee, the pastoral staff, it's my privilege to let you know we're about to begin a search for a full-time worship pastor here at Sanibel Community Church. By way of background, as many of you know, we've had some and are still having some key music leadership transitions. Anthony, who used to lead our contemporary service, stepped down in December. Susie will be stepping down at the end of April. And we've known for some time that this was coming. I mean, when I first came in July, both Susie and Anthony sat down with me and let me know that for different reasons, they felt the Lord was starting to move them on to different things and different ministries. So those times are unfolding and they're drawing near. So behind the scenes, our leadership's been able to think through, okay, what should we do with the music ministry of our church? And so we're, again, looking for we're setting our sights on a full-time worship pastor. What does that job involve? Well, I think first and foremost, somebody who has the ability to lead our church in congregational singing. I think the most important thing musically in a church is, do the people sing? And is it someone who can bring out the singing of our church so that we are the choir and the Lord ultimately is the one who is receiving our praise and adoration? But it's more than an ability to lead music and lead singing on a Sunday morning. I think that implies that this person has to be bilingual. In other words, they need to be able to speak both contemporary and traditional and be able to lead effectively in different genres of music, because our church represents a varied range of musical expression, and we want someone who can function in those different ways and appreciate, and even in some ways help us appreciate one another in the church in those ways. And to do that, you have to be competent in all of that range of music. It also needs to be someone who can oversee an entire music program, someone who will be able to supervise and lead our current music staff, so Lee and Liz, who are still with us, and be able to work with them and lead them. Somebody who can develop ensembles and musicians and singers from children on up. And some of that work is being done. We do have some of those, but I think there's a lot more that could be done. And it takes time and it takes relationships. And also looking for somebody, and I think this is the pastoral part that we're setting our sights on, is somebody who can bring a kind of biblical and theological focus to what we do, so that we're thinking biblically about the worship of the church and being able to teach biblically on it, so that it's not just getting people to perform music, but really discipling people. I mean, that's really our goal as a church, is to make disciples of Jesus Christ. And so we want that to be diffused throughout all the different elements of the church. So what can you do? How can you help? 3 ways. Number 1, most important, pray. We need the Lord to lead and guide us in this effort. Just as you prayed for AJ to come, and the Lord answered that, and just as I know you prayed for your senior pastor, we need to be praying for this role, because it's such a critical role. I mean, the music of a church is obviously a really big deal, and it affects all of us, and it really puts an imprint on the personality of the church as we worship the Lord together. So be praying about that in your small groups, around the dinner table, in your committee meetings, in your personal prayers. Second thing you can do is to continue to give financially. We have staffing needs. We continue to have ministry needs in the church, and so sometimes that can go by the wayside, especially in crazy times like this with COVID, where for some of us we can't even get to church. But if this is your church home, and if you're a member of this church, we just encourage you to keep giving financially to the work of the church for these kinds of reasons, because eventually we're going to come through this COVID time, and the work has to go on, and the process of building the team and putting the pieces in place is still ongoing. And then number 3, and I think this is where you guys could really be of unique help, we are looking for leads. So if you're hearing about this role and you can think of somebody who would be exceptional at leading in the worship and music of our church, We want to know that person. And we asking you, because one of the things that's really cool about Sanibel Community Church, as you know, is that people come and go. And so we actually, as a church, we have our tentacles all over the United States. We have all kinds of connections. And you may know someone who you're like, wow, this person would really be amazing fit for our church and could lead us in an exceptional way. We want to know. So if you know that person, let us know. Send their name and contact to our one of our secretaries, Beth at Sanibel Community, or Sanibel Church. I should know the email, sanibelchurch.com. Beth at sanibelchurch.com, and let us know so we can follow up with that person and just talk to them and see where they're at and what the Lord might be doing in their life. And we're praying that through this church we can find the next person together. And so, brothers and sisters, be praying. If you have any questions, just send me an email or pull me aside on a Sunday morning. Be like, hey, Jeremy, one thing I didn't understand or that you weren't clear about in that video, or just a lingering question I have, man, just ask me. I'll be happy to answer. And as we think and pray about this next step together. So God bless, and may the Lord continue to work for his glory and our good in the advance of the gospel here in our church.